Hey everyone, my name is Jason Moshe, and today we're going to be getting into the concept of a design sprint. And for those of you who are not familiar with a design sprint, it is a week-long event, Monday through Friday, where you're actually coming up with an idea, sketching and prototyping that idea, and then testing it at the end of the week. I actually have an example I'm going to go ahead and show you, and we'll get into some of the intricacies of how we planned it, how we did research, how we actually prototyped it, and then how we launched it. So it will make a lot more sense at the end of this video, so I hope you stick with us and I hope you get a lot out of it. So let's go ahead and jump into the demo. Okay, so here we are, and the name of this project was actually called Food Recall Dashboard. So what we ended up doing is we ended up taking a lot of information that was publicly available from the FDA on food recall data, and that was the purpose of this project, was to build a dashboard so users could easily see the information in different graphical formats and different charts and so forth. So we broke apart the project into 3 phases. So keep in mind, this is over 1 week. So we wanted to go through a focus phase, which was all about research and understanding the requirements at a high level, and then getting into more of the details. And then we got into the clarity phase, which was really getting into building the backlog up of the different user stories that we needed to define and build out, as well as getting into the prototyping side. And then on the results, we actually got into the development and then usability testing. So here you can see over a 1 week period and the 3 phases at the top. Monday, team planning and user research. Tuesday, we got into card sorting with the users, started building out the product backlog and started sketching out some initial concepts. On Wednesday, we got more into the concepts and started doing peer reviews to get ideas on the actual concepts that we were coming up with based on the research. So a lot of this is trying to come up with different ideas and getting feedback directly from the users on what works and what doesn't work based on their needs. That's what we did Wednesday. And then Thursday, after we prototyped, we started getting into usability testing to actually get more in-depth feedback on the designs and the functionality, and actually launched it on Friday and pushed all the code out to GitHub at that point. The team itself was made up of 4 people, and this is the core team. So we had a product manager, interaction designer, visual designer, and front-end developer. Your situation may be different. You may have different teammates, but for this purpose and this project, this is the team we have. This is the core team, not including the actual users of the product. You can see here on Monday, we did get into user research in more detail, and we actually had some users participate in different research type exercises like card sorting and things like that to get a better understanding of what the actual needs are. So design sprints ties in with human-centered design aspects and capabilities, because you're really putting the user at the center of the problem and you're trying to work backwards from that. So you have to have users involved in a design sprint. You want to get feedback, you want to understand how it should work, and they're the ones that really are going to guide that process. On Tuesday, you can see here, we started getting into different backlog type items here. For example, this first one, learned why food was recalled as an example. So that is a user story that was important. Obviously, that's why we're doing this. Why is it recalled? What was wrong with the food? So all of that ties into what is displayed on the dashboard. And you can see here there are other user stories, and there's probably a lot more that you can come up with if you did another design sprint, say in week 2. Then on Tuesday, we started getting into some initial sketching of ideas on the whiteboard. We did have some design capabilities, of course, on the team and the core team. So I urge you just to get to the whiteboard and start sketching out ideas. And in a lot of cases, we'll have the users get up and say, what do you think? Why don't you sketch out some ideas, and we can kind of riff on what works and what doesn't work. So it's a very iterative, collaborative type of session. On Wednesday, we started getting into the peer reviews based on the design. So we had some design concepts from the research we had done, from the feedback we had gathered so far from the users, and we wanted to play that back. So typically what happens is, and in this case specifically, on Tuesday night we worked to create some different concept designs and to be able to share back to the users to get their feedback. And that's what we did on Wednesday, is the peer review, give us feedback on the design concepts we've come up with thus far, and then we can iterate some more if we need to based on the feedback. And then Wednesday, after we got that feedback, we started jumping into the front-end development. Now, this is an important point because you don't have to wait until Wednesday. If you feel on Tuesday, for example, you have a good idea of the concepts, you can have the front-end developer start building some initial concepts out in parallel with you. In this case, a lot of the heavy lifting was done on Wednesday around development. On Thursday, we had enough of the interface where we could do some light usability testing, and that's what you see here is the team doing usability testing, where we can let the users kind of go through what had been developed and get feedback directly from them. So it could be a moderated type usability test, where in our case we actually had one of the core team members, Robert, actually moderating the usability test and asking questions and asking the user to complete certain tasks that were important based on the user stories and the research we had done. So he's walking through and gathering insights, qualitative insights based on that. And you can refine it, right? You refine the code, you make it better based on the usability tests. And then Friday, we actually did a final pass on the product, and you can see it here, a one-page dashboard that's online that is interactive, and it's the nice thing about it, it's actually pulling data from the FDA and actually displaying that food recall data to the user so they can get value out of it. And that's the concept of a design sprint. So I hope you got a lot out of this video. If you do have more questions, definitely feel free to reach out to me. There's a lot of different ways you can slice and dice a design sprint. I gave you one way. But again, there are many ways. So feel free to add in different things that work for you and your organization and your culture as well. Thanks again.